When I go to the feed to feed the cows, and only one cow shows up, I still feed her, but I don't give her the whole bag full. Since we've got a small intimate group today, I thought maybe we'll figure out if there's something you guys want to talk about that's not lined up with what I'm intending to talk about today. We might as well focus the lecture about the things you want to learn, as opposed to the things I think I want to spout at you today. So if you guys can get your cards filled out, go ahead and pass them forward. Let's see what we got going on. Pass them forward, I'll shuffle them so I don't know who's this who's. I don't know any of it's handwriting. I promise not to look. I don't even know which one's which.
Is that?
Shuffle them all. What else we got? So part of it is to figure out what I'm doing right to get the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you to show up. Do I care what I'm doing wrong that makes the rest of the people not show up?
I don't see it.
What's that?
I don't see it.
I have no idea. Okay, thanks for that. But I imagine everybody's either a senior or junior in this class. Any sophomores in there? Yeah, you show up every time. He just hasn't learned yet that he doesn't have to show up. What do people want to do? Hey, I'm here because it's on my schedule and I want to learn about tips and tricks for 5-axis. Okay. I'm here to learn. I want to learn, who would like to learn more about end mills? I'm here to learn about CNC machining and manufacturing, possibly something related to 3-axis, pros and cons, 5. And I hear today class so far the lectures have been engaging, and I love this person. Now you bet you we should do your name on here. What do you want to do to learn? I want whatever is taught. So this person has read the memo on sucking up the professor, right? No, that's actually a great attitude, I think. I missed last class, now I know who this one is, but I want to stay on track with my courses. I still want to learn more about machining, different machining operations, when to use contouring, milling. This is something I know about. I can talk about this. Good. I didn't fall behind the lecture. They didn't help me with my MVP. Maybe you'll take attendance if I don't come. Look at that. I don't suppose this counts as attendance, but I want to learn more about coolant. Okay? Because I paid for the class, and it's interesting manufacturing processes. I like to learn about machine automation and control systems. Not only did this person come to class, this person actually maybe looked at the syllabus and knows what the topic was supposed to be. Excellent. So thank you guys all for being here. So my plan today, and I'm going to start off with my plan because I want to get some interaction between you guys and me. So I'm going to start off with my plan because the plan was to have this interaction. And then we'll get into some of the topics specifically that you asked for on the cards too. But what I wanted to do today was have a discussion about what it takes to learn something. So you guys stand up if you've ever learned anything. You know, something you didn't know at one point and then you did know later. All right. I expected you to stay steady. All right. So stand up if you've ever learned anything. So remain standing now if you've ever learned how to use a software platform, software package. All right, so everybody's still standing. So we've all learned how to use a software package in the past. You guys can remain standing or sit at your leisure. Everybody sit up, huh? All right, so we've all learned how to use software before, right? Tell me some ways that you learned how to use software. What have you done to learn how to use software? When everybody was here, it was easy to remember everybody's name.
In between Matt, sandwich,
Yeah. Pat?
no, Kyle.
Kyle. Oh, you're the Kyle.
Kyle sandwich.
That's good. Matt was sitting in the right seat. Yeah, we're good. Okay, Kyle. I was gonna go with Kyle at first. All right, Kyle. How do you learn software? If you want to learn a new software package, what's the first thing you have to do?
I usually try to just play with it.
So you want to just play with it. So if I want to, so this thing, fundamentally, if I want to learn how to use a new software package that I've never used before, if I walk into the room, the software is running on the computer, and I'm told you must learn how to use that software. What's the first thing that you have to know?
Tutorials, but I don't know.
So we get Kyle wants to play with it. We've got tutorials. So use tutorials, play with it. As we walk into the classroom, though, in the room, if our task is to learn how to use the software, even before we start playing with it or we start using the tutorials, what do we actually fundamentally want to know? What's important for us to know? Say again? What it does. What's the primary function? So what's the primary function of the software? Why are we using the software? So what software have we been using in class so far? So we've used Esprit software in class so far. You use SOLIDWORKS in class? We probably gave you SOLIDWORKS files, but I don't think we used SOLIDWORKS by design in class. But we're using Esprit in class. What's the function of the Esprit software? Why are we using it?
Create toolpaths for machining.
To create toolpaths for machining. So we want to create toolpaths for machining. All right, we want to create toolpaths for machining. Why? Right, so you make a part. Why are we making a part? You want to make money? So we're making a part because our customer wants it? Right? Okay. So this is a manufacturing class. We're talking about being manufacturing engineers. We want to make a part because our customer wants the part. Okay. And so Esprit is used, so is Esprit the only way to create toolpaths for machining? How else could I do it? I didn't use the software. I could write all the code by hand. What else?
Use a manual machine.
I could manually machine it, regardless of what kind of machine I'm using, right? Do we have any other options? I suppose you could use some hybrid combination of all three of those things too, right? That's pretty much. So what does Esprit get us that the other things don't get us then? Okay.
Automation.
Yeah, so the Esprit gives us automation. So Esprit is automation software for us. Is that right? Okay, great. So we want to use Esprit to do automation. We said if we want to learn how to use software that we want to play with it, use it. We want to have some tutorials. Even before we get to that, we want to know what its primary function is. So Esprit is automation software for manufacturing. What's the ideal part flow? What's the ideal workflow through Esprit, do you think? If it was your job now to figure out what features should the software have in order to automate our toolpath creation, what would you like it to be able to do?
Be able to give it a model.
So I'd like to be able to give it a model, one.
The machine you're gonna use, and then everything all the rest.
So you mean solid model?
Yeah.
We'd like to select the machine tool, tell it what machine tool that we're going to use, and then what? I forget.
How to do the rest. Okay, I'll get you one.
Click Rip. So I get to, every year or so, I get to go visit the people that create Esprit, the software. We do a big group meeting where they invite in large customers, large resellers, and they get together once a year for about a week. We talk about new features that are coming out in the version that's going to be released. You may or may not have noticed that they have a release for every year. So the new, what's different between last year and next year? What do you want in the year coming out? They spend what's the number? It's like $50 or $60 million a year in development. They have, I mean, they're over $100 million a year in revenue. Most they get poured back into development. So they're really trying to be in the forefront. So every time we go to one of these meetings, the president and CEO get up on stage and talk. That's one of the things that one of it is to hype your customers, get them all excited about your software, hype your resellers, get them all excited. But they talk about their vision for the future, and they talk about how the software was created, and their stated purpose for operating the company and bringing all these people together and doing all those things is to make Esprit into a print driver. They would like it to be so that the designer comes up with the design, regardless of how they document the design, right? So you get the solid models, you get your drawings, things like that, right? So that the designer can create a design and click print and have the parts show up. Okay, so what we're going to be doing starting next week in lab, and as we go through for the rest of the class, is we're going to be looking at so you've got an idea now, you've got some practice using the manual way to use Esprit. So you know how to go fill in the operations, to select things in the operations, do all those kind of things. So you got the idea of how to do the manual kind of things in Esprit. The next phase in this is going to be to use Esprit as a programming tool now, so that you can literally drag and drop your SolidWorks file onto a little icon and have it spit out the NC code that can run on the machine. And the only step that you did in that process is dragging and dropping. And there's ways that you can actually batch process that. There are companies that use this software and have developed algorithms around this, where they're generating millions of lines of code every year for parts that the software has never seen before, and sending it automatically to the machine tool. And all the operator has to do is just select, this is the part I'm making, and it sends it to the machine tool, the code's already loaded in there. So if I want to do that, what do I have to know? If I want it to be, so your step had select machine tool in it. You can eliminate select machine tool. We can eliminate all of the steps except for creating the design, because that's somebody else's job to eliminate that step.
I was saying more machine to be using that.
Exactly.
Specific tools.
Yeah, I know what you meant. You meant like which machine tool on the floor are we gonna send this code to? So what if I don't want to do that? Let's start with getting rid of that step. What if I don't want to tell Esprit or our whatever CAM package it is, because all the CAM creating software developers should be working towards the same end goal, right? We should all be working towards this end goal. So what's the first thing I got to do if I don't want to have to tell the machine or tell the computer which machines will use?
You could have an optimization software, some kind of algorithm that chooses the best machine.
So we'll develop an algorithm to pick best we want an algorithm to pick the best machine to use. Is that a good first step? Anybody disagrees with that as our first step? What we should do here? All right. So what are the factors that go into selecting the best machine to use? Our algorithm has to be based on factors, right? Brian had something? So max spindle speed available. So that max spindle speed available, what's that going to influence in our machine parameters? It's going to impact the surface speed, right? And so the smaller diameter tools, if we're talking about a milling operation, since that's what we've done in class so far. We're talking about a milling operation. The smaller diameter tool that we need to use, the higher spindle speed we want available to us so that we can get in that range of acceptable surface speeds for that tool, right? As the diameter goes to 0, spindle speed goes to infinity. To the best of my knowledge, nobody's made an infinite speed spindle yet. But hey, it's got to be common. Right, so we want to know max spindle speed available. What else do we want to know about our machines? It's going to influence. So that smallest diameter tool then is going to impact the smallest radius feature that I can create on internal geometry, right? Because we can't make features smaller than the radius or half the diameter of the tool in like an inside pocketing operation. Right, open pocketing operation here together. Convex, concave. Yeah, cave is like caving in, right? So on a concave shaped feature. So I did that. It's all in there. Just gonna shake it around a little bit. All right. So what else about the machine do we want to know then? We're picking the optimal machine for a process.
The maximum workpiece size.
So workpiece max. So you mean work envelope?
Yeah.
So max work envelope. Envelope have any at the end? So work envelope. So we're talking about workpiece size. Let's stay on this topic. What else might we want to know about workpiece size? Besides, where does the tool? So work envelope is where does the tool have to be able to reach in order to make a piece, right? And so putting in a work piece in the machine, the machine tool doesn't have enough travel to reach all the dimensions. Probably isn't going to work. What else do I want to know about my work piece? Mass of the workpiece. So machine tool tables will have a working payload. If your workpiece is too heavy, the machine tool table won't be able to move it. It'll affect the accelerations and things like that. So you want to know the mass, if there's a maximum weight limit. Now, typically, that doesn't come into play, right? Typically, our workpieces are much smaller than the capability of the machine. But if we're gonna automate this, that means that somebody may throw an atypical part at it, right? So we wanna know what are our bounds, what can't we hold on to? So material type.
Does the machine actually compensate for a heavier work piece?
It doesn't violate laws of physics, but I don't know of any that do it.
But,
It does not violate laws of physics.
I know,
Machines
sure.
have the capability of knowing how heavy the part is, and there's math available, but I don't know of any machines that are doing it in practice. So somebody could write a special program to make it happen, but I don't think anybody has done it.
Having work.
Right, I don't think it exists, but it could exist.
They're not like getting feedback of like the current condition of the
To the
station.
best of my knowledge, nobody's implemented that, but that's certainly something that's programmably possible.
So all the work by just giving a signal to the motor and assuming it goes back.
So, well, they're typically servo motors that drive the stages in all machines, that drive the tables and machines. And so servo motors are controlled with a feedback loop.
Okay.
So you'll tell it where to go, you monitor whether or not it got there, and you make adjustments based on that.
Okay.
So they are controlling it with feedback, but it's a closed loop feedback, right? Let me make sure I don't use the controls words incorrectly. I took controls a long time ago. But I think I understand the principles of it. All right, so workpiece material. Why might workpiece material be important to us? I put it down, so I agree. So what things about fixturing? What fixturing is available in the machine, right? Okay, so if it's a steel part, for example, and you have a machine that's dedicated with a magnetic chuck in it, you can hold steel parts with magnetic chucks. Much harder to hold aluminum parts with magnetic chucks. You make aluminum magnetic because you got to pass a high current through it, which usually we don't do inside a machine tool. But, you know, again, it doesn't violate laws of physics. Within the realm of possibility, just unlikely. All right, so material could impact us because it'll impact the type of fixturing that we use. Also, if we're using fixturing on a soft material, then the fixture squeezes really tight. So maybe there's a minimum clamping force that's available in the machine because of the way it's set up. So you have automated fixturing, right? You can have hydraulic pressure opening and closing those vices, for example, or any other thing. So it could be that there's a maximum or minimum clamping force that you can apply with a system like that. So you want to know materials, things like that. So these are kind of things that would help you then choose the physical properties of the to decide whether or not this machine is appropriate. You may also look at things like maximum minimum P rates. Right? So there's minimum P rate, 0, I suppose. Doesn't feed very much 0. Maximum P rate stuff. So you look at those kind of properties. Now, is this sufficient to know whether or not you've got the right machine tool? What's missing?
Your part geometry.
So part geometry, I think we covered that with our work envelope. So we may have to have more than one setup, right? And so if we want to automate the process of changing from one setup to another, maybe you need to know whether there's a robot in proximity that can manipulate your workpiece. You want to truly automate that process. And there's companies that do that right now. You can order stuff, send them a CAD model online, and they've got automated processes that will go out and actually use a robot to load stock into a machine tool, machine your part, use a robot to take that out, drop it in the box, and ship it to you tomorrow. Those companies exist. They're very strictly limited on the shapes of parts that they're willing to make, or the materials that they're willing to make about them. But that technology exists. It's a company, I forget the name of it, but they're located somewhere in the Midwest. And last year, they were the largest single customer of machine. They bought like 250 BF style machines just to set up an operation like that. Put them all in one building. So that kind of stuff is out there. That's coming to market. So our workpiece material. But is this enough now to automate the process from going from the designer clicking print to having the part show up? For selecting the machine part, yeah.
You probably don't need like the biggest machine that you can do, You don't need too.
Right, so our idea here was, I guess, to optimize which machine we chose. So our factory might have 30 machines that can make the part. We also want to find the right machine to make the part, not just pick any one of the 30, because then you may make a machine unavailable for another part that the other 29 couldn't make. Right. So we want to be able to pick ranges, so tolerances of what we're willing to use in these things as we go through our optimization process. But is this enough information? Can I click print and assume now that it's going to select the right machine tool?
You're including,
Once we've written all the code that goes around these problems.
are you including access to movement in envelope?
So yeah, so we've got geometry. We may have. Is that how you spell axes? Axes has an E in it, right? Number of axes. Axes. Is that right?
I think you had it before, actually.
I'm pretty sure the I would look best. I think so. It looks like axes, like axes you can chop down many trees. I'm going with it. It's done.
It's a name.
There's no going back.
Google it, please.
Google agrees?
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm so glad that we come to some formal conclusion on this. I'm good with the fact that I can spell. I'm kind of proud of it. I'm not sure I should be proud of it, but I'm kind of proud of it. Getting back to the topic, is this enough information? Assuming that we write code that uses all this information and picks the right number of axes to use, that knows that the workpiece can't weigh more than a certain amount to make this machine be usable. And that we know that our workpiece fits inside the work envelope, that we know that we can fixture. So under material, I'm going to fixture, right?
Do you want to include something that?
Now, all of these things are you can hierarchically break them down into what do you have to know about the material and the fixturing in order to make the right selection, right? This is the high level design of this.
Cooling capabilities?
Coolant, you might need to know about coolant. The high pressure coolant is a through spindle coolant. So a lot of times you want to use through spindle coolant if you've got a deep hole that you're drilling, for example. That deep through spindle coolant will push the chips up out of the hole, and you can do a plunge drilling operation instead of a back drilling operation. That'll help you optimize the speed at which you can make those parts. And in what case do you want to make the parts as fast as possible? There's only one case when you want to make the parts as fast as possible. When the customers want to buy the parts faster than you can make them. Right? That's the case where you want to make the parts as fast as possible, because that's when you're going to be able to maximize the profit rate. Right? You did a whole MQP about this, didn't you? 7 machine tools running 24 hours a day making the same component. You guys optimize the process? Hopefully.
So when you say through spindle coolant, are there any like machine tools?
Absolutely. So we've got drills that have holes that go all the way through. We run through spindle tools and wash all that.
The mini mills?
Not the mini mills. We don't have two spindle coolant on the mini mills, but the M2 does. And MDC does, and all related to it. You have the right tooling installed now. All right, so is this now sufficient? So there's coolant, materials, mass, fixturing, speed. Feeds we put in there. We talked about feeds anyway, we didn't write it down. So now have we sort of solved the high level problem of selecting machine tool? There's one critical thing that I think is missing that I kind of thought was going to be the first thing you guys would say.
Number of tools machine tool?
Yeah, okay. So number of tools. You can usually figure that part out, but yeah. So if you absolutely need 12 tools to make your part, you can't figure out how to make your part with fewer than 12 tools, then you're not using a mini mill in an automated process. Somebody would have to go in there and change tools halfway through.
You want with the efficiency of the machine, right?
So you can get into those details, and I'll get into power efficiency. Sort of word letters close together that just have this cooler injected and have sort of a glue on and roll it up. Shape like a roll of paper and put a paper outside. That'd be cool. Did anybody ever have a class where they used one of those? You did in like elementary school or something, high school. It was cool because they could roll back then to the thing they talked about before. The teacher would roll back. Yeah. I had classes at WPI where that was like state of the art technology.
This extra credit if you put that in the class.
Oh. Okay, so what else do I need to know? One very critical, important piece of information I need to know for this to work. The whole, even if you pick the optimal machine, the whole thing's going to fail if you don't have this piece of information.
Whether it's a mill or a turn part.
Well, you can figure that out quick.
Are the operators here for those?
Yeah, no. I mean, maybe. So keep that one in mind. But it's not what I'm looking for.
Machine available in the shop.
Yeah. Does the machine exist? It isn't already booked for something else. So. I do not know why there's a capital H in the middle of that, but scheduling. Oh, wait, I just don't know why the H is bigger. They're all capitals right now. I don't know why the H is bigger, but I believe it belongs to application. So scheduling, is that machine available? Is it currently occupied with something else? Is there another job coming in that we expect to use that machine for? So you want to know, so scheduling, so does the machine exist in our facility first, right? That's the first step in making the schedule. Know what machines exist. Have a database of their properties, the things that they're doing. All right, so that's our first step in process automation. We've chosen the right machine to use. And so maybe your database only holds one machine tool. In which case, that makes that step easy, right? So for the exercises you guys are going to be doing over the next, how many weeks of class do you have left? 4 weeks. This is due during the last week, so you've got 4 weeks now to work on this. I understand from people that have gone through and tested the instructions and used this, it takes a solid 40 hours of work to do. There are 40 man hours that you're going to need to distribute along the next 4 weeks in order to do the exercise that we're doing to start next week. And so it's in lab next week. So, yeah, I mean, you can wait until week 7, I suppose. But just be expecting to spend 40 hours on that exercise in week 7, if that's what it comes to.
That the last 4 labs or not?
We have another lab that we drop in this week after. Sort of break it up. We wanted to introduce this as early in the term as possible, so that you can start thinking about it, start working on it, so that you don't put all 40 of those hours in that last week. Anybody working on an MQD? You done? You done?
No.
Yes, I can help you with yours. That was the last email. Yeah, we should set a time. You're done submitting? All right. Maybe you got anything else going on this term? We might have stuff to do with the end of the term. Yeah. So you're going to want to look at this immediately. Break down the problem. Think about the steps that you're going to have to do, because you're going to have to learn stuff in order to do this. Yeah. Did we talk about the word educate and the root of the word educate? What does it mean to educate? It means to draw out knowledge, which means I want to educate y'all. I don't want to teach you. I want you to learn. I want to inspire you to learn and give you the opportunity and the tools that you need to learn. And for those of you that came in late, you're not gonna know what I'm doing with these cards. Let me go back to the cards here, see if I can touch on some of these topics. I'd like to, oh, look at this one, thank you so much. We already covered that. And I don't know if I taught you anything about it, but at least now you know that you have to learn it. So I want to learn more about tool life. So tool life. I want to learn more about tool life, please. You're welcome. What are the factors that go into tool life? How long a tool lives? Again, I'm throwing out knowledge. Go ahead, Cam.
How much you cut with it?
So factors that affect tool life.
A.
Spell the impact. Effect and effect are really bad words to use anyway, so nobody's really sure. Factors that impact tool life. So how much you calculate was what you said, right? So I'm going to say material removal. So how many buckets of chips did you fill up with the tool? You know something about this, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that like a whole chapter in your MQP? Is the part you wanted to talk about? Okay. Maybe this will help. Amount of material removed. Somebody said, what did you say again? The tool material. The tool material, tool geometry, coatings. So I guess hardness. So the tool itself, sharpness. So friction is probably going to be related to coatings and but also the surface finish and things on the tool. Is a sharp tool or a dull tool going to wear out faster? Sure. Why is a sharp, I mean, just general thoughts on this. Why is a sharp tool more likely to wear out faster than a dull tool? Wow.
It has a thinner edge, which makes it easy, wears down easier.
Right, so stress concentrations are higher because it's a thinner edge, right? So a sharp tool is not very good in hard materials. So you want to, and so if by sharp, what they do is they'll actually grind around on the cutting edge of a tool that's intended to be used in harder materials so that it reacts more consistently across the tool line, right? So a sharp tool is really good for soft materials like aluminum, plastics, things like that. In fact, for plastics, you want the tool to be as sharp as possible. But what about coatings? When is it good to have a diamond coating? Diamonds are pretty hard. The tool, you always want the tool to be harder than the workpiece material, right? That's sort of intuitively understandable to everybody. Like the tool to be harder than the workpiece material. Diamonds are hard. One of the hardest things out there, right? So how come we don't put diamond coatings on all tools? So go ahead. Yeah, you guys are talking about cost of the tool, and I would agree.
So if you're cutting machine steel.
Yeah, diamond coatings disappear when you cut steel with tools coated with diamond. Because that steel likes to attract carbon molecules. And you have high heat happening at the cutting zone. And so what happens is the carbon molecule says, hey, I'm just hanging out here on the edge of this tool, but they sort of sputtered me on here. Whoop! Now I'm part of the steel. I become one with the steel. Those carbon molecules, they just pop right over there. So yeah, you can't keep diamond coatings on tools that cut steel. They wear off. Now, in the lab over here, we cut a lot of aluminum. How come we don't use diamond coated tools there? We hardly ever cut steel. In fact, we have different tooling that we use for steel with different coatings. Hey, they last forever. Lasts a long time, you get a lot more tool life, this is about tool life, right? Tool life goes way up when you put a diamond coating on a tool that's staying away from
Operator
Yeah, most of our tools don't wear out if they catastrophically fail. And so that's the only reason we don't buy diamond coated tools, it costs like 4 times more than the ones we buy. And, just so you guys know, the tooling that we use over there in the facility, we get it pretty much at the cost of the carbide. In fact, some of them I think we might get less than the material cost of the carbide, and I'm pretty sure we can order them, put them in the recycling box and send them back and make money. We get a really good deal on the tools that we buy over there, but those end mills are not cheap. Carbide end mills. All right, so tool material friction charges. What else goes into what's going to impact the tool life?
Your workpiece material. What you're
Workpiece material, yeah. So workpiece material, harder materials go around faster in general. These are the factors that impact tool life. So, how much material are we removing? The tool material, workpiece material, all the factors about the tool, and the surface speed. As surface speed goes up, tool life goes down. Well, a lot of what surface speed. So think about the physics of the process. What's one thing that's going to go up for highly correlated with surface speed? Temperature is going to go up very highly correlated with surface speed. And so if we can use a better coolant, get better coolant delivery, we can extend tool life because we can keep that heat down. But the tools tend to wear out very much associated with the temperature of the operation, heat in the cutting area. Doing that, and so in processes, and they tend to wear out sort of with chemical processes. So we talk about the carbon atoms jumping over to the steel, things like that. We get sort of chemical processes, the tools are going to break down, as long as we haven't catastrophically failed the tool. But if we're wearing it slowly, then you get chemical processes go down. Anybody know about Arrhenius and the Arrhenius equation? You want a Nobel Prize? They should make all scientists and engineers just memorize all Nobel laureates and what they want a prize for. That'd be a lot, right? They give a lot of Nobel Prizes when you wrote that. Anyway, you get a Nobel Prize for figuring out that you take, and so this works with chemical processes that are temperature dependent. That you take the log of the temperature and the log of the time, for these kind of processes, plot them against each other, you get a straight line. And when you go to tool wear experiments, and you vary the cutting speed, do those kind of things. All right, the speed also impacts, and I may have put this on the wrong axis. I may have forgotten to put an independent and put the independent variable. When we're doing these kind of graphs, which one do we put on the y-axis? Independent. So So high speed, low light, right? Oh, why is? Let me try that again. I had it right the first time, didn't I? Light. That's the dependent one. Speed. That's the one we get to control. And when speed is high, light is low.
Do you want your coolant to be best possible, or is there a plan where it's?
So what's the purpose of coolant?
Heat.
We want to dissipate heat from the cutting area. We want to clear chips from the cutting area. And we may lubricate the cutting area, in which case we lower the friction coefficient, which reduces incoming heat. That's what the coolant can do for us. It's really hard to lubricate with the coolant. Because it's really hard to get the coolant between the chip and the tool. And so it's heat going up the rake face of the tool. Where the chip slides on the rake face of the tool, that's where all the friction is. That's where all the heat comes from. So it's really hard to get coolant into that area. And they do make tools now that are like, they have like lathe turning inserts, where it's through spindle coolant, and there's little holes in the ceramic of the insert right at the cutting edge. And they're actually injecting coolant at the cutting edge. And in that case, you're getting lubrication and you're reducing the friction, which is reducing the heat. There's also like tapping operations. They frequently put a tapping fluid on the tap before it goes in the hole. In that case, because of the design of the operation, the way the hole's working, you get some lubrication, at least in the beginning of the cut. But that lubricating stuff goes away pretty much as soon as the chip interacts with the rake face. And it washes it away. So mostly what you're doing is clearing chips from the area and cooling the bulk material as opposed to lubricating the cut. So we get to talk about tool life today. Did we learn more about tool life than we expected? Excellent. I'll keep these cards handy for taking up dead air in future lectures.